Alright, here is Kiddo collecting. This is going to go in our lasagna, hopefully. With the knife. Yeah, we're not going to do things like that and freak out Mom. Okay.
Okay.
So the camera is not getting you all the way. I don't know. Okay, let's try that again from that angle, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of weird. This may not work. Somebody buy us some cool camera equipment so we can do some proper cooking.
And proper videoing.
Yeah, so this is the, I don't know if you watched the other video with the radish greens where we went and collected it and we told you tips and tools about gardening.
Link somewhere maybe.
Now we're making a lasagna. We're going to try to attempt to make some kind of lasagna-like thing. And we're going to use up those radish greens. There was an old zucchini that we found and some chives, and then there's the stems from the radish greens, which we cook separately and cut up separately. So we'll cut this up really fine and small.
Alright, you think I can just use half the leaves, or do you want to use the entire leaves?
We're going to use the entire leaves.
Jeez,
oh, wait.
This is half. This is half right here. Okay, this is about half, maybe a little less.
You know what? We're going to actually cut up the entire thing. Because that way we can use it for other things too, like the burritos, and it'll all be cut up and we can just pull from it as necessary, okay? Okay, so this is not a 30-minute, hour-long video. I'm going to go ahead and push pause here while he cuts up more radish greens. Okay, so we're going to do this next part of making the flour for this lasagna, and it's not really a lasagna, but it's just kind of putting together the idea of flour, vegetable sauce, the idea of layering is that's what you have in a lasagna plus a sauce, and so that's what we're going to kind of create. Normally in a lasagna you do everything, two things you do, the cooking of it in the pot and the boiling the sauce, and then you cook the pasta separately, and we're going to try to do it all in one time. So anyways, this is what we're adding. This is the supplies that we happen to have. This was bought at Costco a long time ago, something my mom got, something a friend of ours gave, another friend of ours gave. So we're combining the ingredients to kind of make everything last a little bit longer. Quinoa flour is really helpful in terms of protein, and also whole wheat is better than the white flour because it's got a lot more nutrition than white flour. Try to get organic if you can because it is healthier for you and less GMOs. And I know that people are all like, well, this whole GMO thing, but you know what? It's better to be safer, especially if you have people who are helping you out. Okay, all right, so we're going to try this next, and we'll be in touch with you again. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add the stuff in. Okay, so we're going to do something different so that we can keep our hands clean, and that is how we end up with flour everywhere. So the last couple times he spent the last few days, we haven't videoed it, but he spent the last few days making us dough. Actually, he's been making himself this really cool cheese stick-like things that he...
Tomato sauce or pizza beans. I think I made a few snapshots. I don't know if I looked up with them.
Okay, keep doing it. You can talk and act, move at the same time.
I know. You think that's enough of them?
Yeah. Okay, so make a full layer of it. So we don't. Yes, it's really bitter, but it's got a lot of protein in it, and it's quinoa.
Fine.
Okay, so now two things that you to be aware, because I am trying to point out to him. Okay, rinse your hands or something so that we can. All right. The point is, I don't want the flour going everywhere again.
I know.
I like
using hands to measure. That's all.
I know, but no, don't stick your hands in there. Change the habit, because that's how you get the flour everywhere.
You know, our cat found a mouse outside.
And she's meowing because she wants to go back out there.
She wants to play with the toy.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Right.
No hands.
All right.
This is a habit he has now. We've got to see how we can undo the habit and replace it with using utensils. This is what happens when I'm not in the kitchen for a couple days. Bad habits get picked up pretty fast. And
I need a good habit.
yeah, there are some uses if you're going to clean up afterwards.
Or
You
if
did
you're,
not
like, in
clean
an
up
outside area.
afterwards.
It's an outside area.
If you're in an outside area?
Yeah, because then you don't have to clean up.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, that would be perfect. Outdoor kitchen would be wonderful. Oh, I would
It's
love an outdoor
interesting. I
kitchen.
don't know if you can see it. If your camera probably can't see it. Yeah, because it's shadow. If you go back, there'll be a little white band because of the way that the edge, the darker band, in the center.
Cool.
That.
All right, so you've added a little bit of each of the flowers?
Yeah, a little bit more of this, and then that's a lot of flour. Okay.
All right. Every time you shake it, remember the dust goes everywhere. And this is actually not that much flour, so we're going to add a little bit more of the quinoa and the whole wheat pasta.
Whole wheat pasta.
I mean,
So
can I do this one?
Pasta.
So the way I do it is I usually just put a thin layer all the way across, and that's how I judge. Go all the way across.
Okay.
Not a lot more. The whole
More?
wheat. Yep. I guess you don't want it too. Okay, that's good. Yes, if you don't want it too weedy, then. All right.
Alright, so now we have.
Now I keep thinking of making pancakes, and so I want to add nuts to it, and.
We're not making pancakes though. We're making some pasta for lasagna.
Now, I was thinking we would add an egg to this to kind of give it a little bit more protein and also to help it stick together a little bit more.
Okay,
I was
so
thinking.
Like to add the egg first.
Again, did you see how all the flour flew off? I don't know if the camera picks it up.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, okay. So we have any eggs left? We have
3 left.
3 left. Oh my goodness, we're running out.
All 3.
Let's just use 1 right now. I wanna get a feel for it, and we can use the other eggs for other times. So make sure you wash your eggs. We just went to a talk yesterday about compost and the importance of making sure your eggs, if you're going to put eggs in your compost, make sure, go ahead, make sure that you have the outer part of the egg cleaned off. And actually before you cook, especially if you get stuff, you might want to make sure the outer of the egg is cleaned off so you don't get E. coli or salmonella or any other stuff. And I don't know if you saw how you did the wrist thing. And the shirt is already covered in flour.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens.
Alright, so you want to rinse that. Why don't you rinse it off before we put it in the compost again?
Okay.
Now that I've gotten all paranoid from the lecture. Now, I'm out of oil, so we're going to. I don't know exactly what I just said because I had to pause the camera for a second. So, yeah, I don't have any more oil, so we're having to use whatever we have around the house, and we still have some butter, so we're going to add some butter instead of oil. Okay, now, so I forgot to give you more instructions. So just scrape it off with a fork like that, but you need to make smaller pieces. No, so use the... Okay, so what I want you to do, Eagle, let me give you instructions first.
Okay.
You're going to scrape it off like this where you get, and then once you get
it off,
then you're going to keep breaking it up more
okay.
because you want tinier pieces inside the pasta.
I see. How do you see my hands break?
If you want to make your hands all messy, it gets very oily and you will have to clean your hands afterwards. So it's much cleaner process if you learn to use the tools you have with you.
And then just, it all comes back to one pile anyway, so it's...
Not exactly. It's still more easily broken up later.
Okay. We'll do it your way.
Thank you. Poor kitty she wants it out.
I have food on her plate.
I know, we have, there's a toy outside that she wants to play with, and we're not particularly fond with her playing with wildlife outside.
Yeah. But the cat catching as long as she's not doing much after she catches it.
Yeah, we don't like her killing creatures.
Right,
I know that is her natural thing as a cat, but that's not what we want to... She's an indoor cat. Well, she's an indoor-outdoor cat. Okay, let's put the flowers all away. I think we're done with them.
Okay.
Okay, we're adding a little bit of brown sugar and also some baking soda.
Okay, that's enough.
All right, so I know my son is not used to me putting a lot in because normally we normally we cook it in this, and actually it doesn't taste that funny. If it does, if you're very sensitive, but we like to. And you're right that because we're not trying to make it get higher for like pancakes and stuff. And for pancakes, you really want a lot of cooking and bread. I find it soothing on the stomach to have a little bit of baking soda. And this is actually not baking soda, this is baking powder. Which is
baking powder also.
Has a little bit of cornstarch.
It's baking soda in it, and it's cornstarch, and also, I believe it's some sort of acid.
Yes.
Powder acid. That reacts with it, so it's water.
Cornstarch, monocalcium phosphate, sodium bicarbonate.
Yep. Oh, that's more sugar, maybe?
Yeah. We're going to make a little daring project, so we just added some rice milk to it. A little bit too much, it's okay. But it just gives a little bit more flavor than the water, and it congeals a little bit better than the water. And then we're going to add just a little bit of chili powder, not much, but just some chili powder that has spices already added to it. I prefer doing my own spices someday, but right now we're just adding just a touch. And in the meantime, also over here, I have cut up an onion for one layer of the lasagna, and we're using a pink onion. I'm probably going to chop that a little bit smaller just so my son doesn't notice it as much. It is going to boil. And I took up the stems and the greens. This is the greens that my son cut up. We're going to also have one layer of chives, and these are both garlic chives and what's that kind of onion called? I forgot.
Onion chives?
No, the one that I don't know, one of those little onions. It's long stems. And then the stems over here, so kind of like a celery it would be. We don't have any celery, which actually is a perfect plant to grow if you're going to do an edible urban oasis. Unfortunately, ours got old, and it was it dried during one of the droughts, so we lost it. But if you want to give us another celery plant, that would be wonderful. Okay, anyways, just wanted to update you where we are on this thing. And also, I want some comments about a poll. Do you like this way, or do you like some of the other videos where we left it on the whole time and you could listen in on our conversation and hear all the interesting things that we talked about while we were cooking? It makes the video 10 times as long, like an hour-long video when we do it that way, because it actually takes us about an hour to cook because we start talking half the time. So that's what I want to find out from people. Do you prefer this method where we just show you what we're cooking and what we're doing? Or do you want to hear our conversations and have an hour-long video? Okay, let us know. And I don't know if I'm going to pause right here or I'm just going to turn this off. I'm going to pause for now.